do I trust this woman? Ultimately, it comes down to that anyway. Ultimately, right? When it comes to a relationship. If you trust somebody fully and vice versa, this person could wear whatever and go on a trip to Puerto Rico to visit her family. And you could be here, stay here. And you wouldn't, if you really trust this woman 100%, you will not think anything negative. She could go and take her trip with her family. No problem. Is that right?
No, I disagree.
Okay, elaborate.
First of all, once you're in a relationship, there is no solo trips unless it's some type of business trip. Like if she's going to see her family and this is your woman and y'all are in a relationship, you in love, she's gonna want you to come as well. Like you guys
Sure.
are one now. Her family's your
Sure,
family.
sure, sure. What if you didn't want to though? What if you didn't want to though?
I mean, it's about compromise because it's gonna be some shit you got to do that you don't want to do on her side, and likewise, it's gonna be some shit she got to do that she don't want to do on your side. Relationships are give and take. As
Sure,
long
sure.
as
So you have to go. You have to go with her.
no, you don't have to do anything. But me personally, my girl ain't leaving the country without me, and it has nothing to do with trust. It's a whole list of things. Like I said, if you watch the podcast, the Viral Way podcast, by the way, I talk all about this girl trip shit, and I break it down from A to Z. You know what I'm saying? But nah, bro, like we are different. See, the problem is when people try to conflate men and women, and well, if men did this, women could do this. No, we ain't the same. We don't live by the same rules. We aren't designed the same. We don't have the same genetic makeup. We don't have the same mental coding, programming. We are totally different. We're totally opposites. This is why we attract each other. It's the yin and the yang. So a man can do certain things that women can't, and vice versa. There's things women can do that men can't do, and it just is what it is. We're not equals in no way, other than we're human. That's about as equal as we are. We're human.
Okay.
And it stops from there.
So before I pick up where I left off, promote yourself real quick, your podcast and all that real quick.
Oh yeah. Y'all tap in, man. We on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We finna be on a whole lot more platforms. It's the Viral Way Podcast. The Viral Way Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at the Viral Way _podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Viral himself. You feel me?
Okay, cool. All right, cool. So now let's pick up where I left off now.
Yep.
So I was bringing up a stereotype, right, regarding black men. So I said that, which I don't like the stereotype, but as you said, stereotypes exist. We could agree on that.
Absolutely.
The stereotype of dressing black, right? So do you think it's okay for, let's use the example of a cop, right? Something that you as a black man and me as a brown person have in common, right? We're driving, minding our business, and we see a cop. Instantly, we already feeling, oh, please don't pull me over, right? Okay. So if we're walking down the street somewhere and we're dressed black, right? As opposed to dress maybe with a suit, and as you said, which I agree in this particular case, we are going to be treated differently, viewed differently, more specifically, right? So let's use the example of a cop. If I'm dressed in a suit and tie and I'm walking and there's a cop, sure, I'm still brown. Sure, you're still black. But because I'm dressed like in a business suit, the chances are that the chances have decreased that I'm going to be fucked with. Not necessarily taken away, but will it decrease a bit rather than if we were to be dressed black, right? Now, the real question here that I think is important is it okay to treat people different because of the way they're dressed? That's the question. Is it okay? And before you answer, you're going to say, I believe. You're going to say, Ricardo, it's not okay, but that's what it is, right?
No, see, I have a different thought process than most people, bro.
Okay.
Like over the years, my thought process changed. Just like you said, Like I started studying the laws of the universe, not man-made laws, because there's laws that supersede that we all live by, whether you know it or not, and it affects your life, whether you know it or not. So it's better to learn it where you can utilize it to your advantage than not. See, when I used to see the cops, I used to have that feeling you was talking about.
Okay.
And I used to always get fucked with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started learning about these laws, like, hey, there's a thing called law of attraction. You know what I'm saying? Your thoughts become your reality. So I'm always thinking whenever I see a cop, they gonna fuck with me, and they always do. When my thoughts changed and I didn't think that no more, bro, I couldn't tell you the last time a cop fucked with me. And I swear to God on my children, bro, where I'm at right now, I'm probably one of the few black people that can even afford to live where I live at. It's like 98% white where I'm at. I done ran stop signs in front of cops multiple times, red lights, all type of shit, bro. They do not fuck with me. I done been speeding past the police. They don't fuck with me. And it all starts with the thought process and what you attract to your life. See, people don't realize most of the fucked up things in their life, well, really all of it, you attract it by what you think. So with your analogy, most people would be like, yeah, Ricardo's right. But see, when you think on a deeper level, then is it right or is it okay? You got to realize that's the wrong question, because what's okay depends on your perspective. Like, it's subjective. Okay to you is wrong to somebody else. Wrong to somebody else is okay to you. And it's all based on your morals, your thought process, was raised, program. So we sit here and say it's wrong that they do this, but what purpose would that serve you? How does that help your life? How does that help you advance? Do you want to stop getting harassed? Maybe if I dress a certain way, I know what's going to come with it. So it's no point in me being mad, because let's just be honest. How many people are committing crimes in suit and ties? I mean, not white collar crimes like that go on in the neighborhood, robberies and shit like that. How many people is doing that in a suit and tie versus in a hoodie and some baggy jeans? Or not even, we don't even wear baggy jeans no more, but just in the hoodie with a ski mask on. You know, everybody like to walk around with the ski mask like the rappers and shit, the Pooh Shiesty mask. Who, just you being a human, who would you keep your eye on more? The guy with the briefcase, you walking down the street to your car at night or in the parking lot at night. You see a guy with a briefcase, suit and tie. You see a guy with a hoodie on with a Pooh Shiesty mask. You yourself, who are you going to be more leery and cautious of?
Okay. So with that said, I'm going to answer your question, but I want you to answer mine first.
Yeah,
so
do I think it's okay? To me, it's irrelevant, bro, because I can't say it's not okay, because now I got to put myself in the shoes of a cop. I'm a cop. I'm fighting crime. Well, quote unquote, fighting crime.
Never mind the cop thing. Just
okay.
on you and I level, like just as an individual, do you think it's okay for a person to be treated based on how they look? And
absolutely. I think it's okay, because we all do it, whether we're conscious of it or we're not. We all do it. So yes, I feel it's okay. You should present yourself the way you want to be treated. That's how I feel. As a human being, the way you want to be treated, that's how you should present yourself.
Okay. So with that said, do you agree or disagree if a white guy is wearing a hoodie and then a black guy is wearing a hoodie, they're going to be treated differently?
Absolutely. The world was built on racism, our world. So naturally, these images, see, he who controls images controls the mind. So the news around the clock, they put certain images in the public's head, which shows like cops, or whenever you see a black or brown guy on the news, they're usually in handcuffs with a mug shot. So these images are ingrained in people's minds. So you're programmed to automatically think Mexican black guy hoodie, bad. White guy, good guy. It's subconscious programming. This is on a deeper level than most people can even understand. Even if you read the comments right now, half the comments is lost because they don't know what I'm talking about, because they never study programming on a deeper level.
Hold on. I've got to close the window because the lawnmower guy is out there doing his thing. Give me a second. Give me a second, y'all.
I know a lot of y'all lost because these are things that they don't teach you in school. These are things you got to educate yourself about. When you get off of this live, start studying subconscious programming. This is programming that you don't even know has to go on, and it's controlling your mind. And they start this since you are a kid in school. You don't even know what's going on. By the time you are an adult, they got you already.
Okay, so I'm glad that you acknowledged that if it's a white guy wearing a hoodie versus a black man wearing a hoodie, I'm glad that you acknowledged that they're going to be treated differently. So the whole treated like you're dressed doesn't apply if you're white necessarily. It applies.
No, it does.
How?
Okay, I'll give you a prime example. Just at my job alone, right? We got two type of white guys. We got the suit and tie, clean cut looking white guy, and we got the trickery type of white guy. You know what I'm saying? Now the trickery guy, he's the actual smart guy. He's the actual brains. But because he does not have the look, they go with the other guy to give the promotion, and they use this guy that don't have the look to train him up, even though he's already more qualified. But they're both white now. He has the look that they want to represent their company. This guy doesn't. He has tattoos, bad teeth, he chews tobacco. They don't want that type of image representing their company regardless of the knowledge he has. They'll take somebody with zero knowledge and say, hey, you, train him till he's knowledgeable as you, and we're going to use him because he's more presentable. So it carries with all races, bro.
Okay. So in regards to mistreating, or rather treating differently based on what you wear. So you said you disagreed with me and said that yes, you do treat people, and it is right to treat people based on how they're dressed. I disagree with that, and this is why. Because you see, I was talking to somebody about this before I got here, and the conversation, or at least the conclusion, was something along the lines of this. What you are expressing is what's become the norm, right? The norm, meaning to treat somebody more specifically. If a woman is dressed like a slut, she's gonna be treated as such, right? However, throughout history, the norms have changed. What is considered dressed like a slut today, some years later, won't. And even if we go into history, the norms have changed. And now let's go to a better example, and to the example that I used with the person that I was having a conversation with, which was this. So you see, there's this father who told his daughter, and this is a true story because I know these people. This father was telling his daughter, you can't go out dressed the way you're dressing. It's harmful. You're putting yourself in danger. Now, I agree with that. If you're dressed, too revealing, thank you very much. If you're dressed too revealing, going out like this, you are risking to get eyes on you, putting yourself in danger, right? I agree with that, by the way. But you see, the issue here is not a woman dressing, revealing, coming out, and risking the chances of being attacked, if you will. The issue is, why is it so? Why are we blaming a woman for being attacked just because of the way she's dressed, when I believe that the issue is, why does a man attack a woman because of the way she's dressed? You see, so now, see, the reason why I mentioned the norms have changed is because once upon a time, 60 years ago, a woman was supposed to, stay at home, do the laundry, do the household work. The man goes to work, provides, right? So there was women There was women in our history. It could have been our grandmothers, you and I's, even our mothers. That's how recent it's been, right? Our mothers. My mother, she lived in that generation where she had to be a stay-home mom while my dad went out to work, provided, right, financially. She had to be home and do the women things, right? um, and that was the norm. That was the complete norm. If you didn't, as a woman, follow that lifestyle, then you're useless, pretty much. You're a useless woman. What are you doing with yourself? If you're not here to be, for lack of better words, a man's servant, then you're useless to the world. What are you here for if not to be a man's servant, right? The way that changed and no longer became the norm is because women began to say, enough of this shit. I don't want this anymore because, like you men, I also want to be a doctor. I also want to be a judge, a lawyer, a construction worker, etc., right? So they began to stand up. And now we're in a generation now where the norm is not that anymore. Now a woman could go get this job, this career, etc. If they accepted the norm, we wouldn't be, we'd still be 50 years ago. If we accepted the norm, if women accepted the norm and never stood up and forcefully changed it. And the reason why I mentioned that is this, because I said, there's a such thing as dressing black, right? Which is a stereotype, and it is a negative thing to dress black. But you see, if you actually begin to question things, is what does it mean to talk black, to act black, to dress black, versus dress white, talk white, behave white? So what's going on here is everything that's good is white. Everything that's negative is black. If black people create an image, a dress code, etc., it's automatically by default deemed negative, inferior, bad, right? Anything that white people create is by default positive, beautiful, and everything inferior and good, right? Black people in this country, and I'm not teaching you anything. This is your history, right? But I'm bringing it up because it's important for me to bring up. Black people in this country, it was the norm to mistreat them just because they're black. You know this. You know this more than me, right? It was the norm by default. Just because you're black, you ain't shit. You know this. We all know this, right? Black people had to stand up and break this norm. And even to this day, it's still bleeding, if you will. It's still this way, right? An example, black people being the victims of police brutality. You go into any video on TikTok, on YouTube, and you see a black man being brutalized, and in the comment section, everybody is justifying it. Everybody is justifying the brutalization of this black man. If you go to a YouTube or anywhere and you see a white man being brutalized, the narrative is completely different in the comment section. It goes something like, no, we need to stand up to these terrorists, meaning the police, right? So you see, it is the norm for the black man to be demonized, to be the bad guy, no matter what, and it will be justified by default to be so. So in this particular case, it's important for me to bring this up because that's what I've also learned in regards to women. And the main goal here is it's wrong to do this. Just like it's been wrong in our history, in American history, to look at black people and by default, you ain't shit. You deserve to be mistreated because you look like somebody that needs to be mistreated, right? Meaning you're black. You're black. By default, our history has taught us that just because you're black, you're bad. There's something wrong. I could see a thief already walking in the door. I could see a criminal walking in the door, a thug. You, Mr. Villain, you are a thug by default, and you have to prove otherwise. That is the norm. A white man is the complete opposite by default, and he has to prove otherwise. He has to prove that he's a criminal. White people have to prove that they're criminals. Black people have to prove that they're good. I know this because it's the same thing with us. You know that. So you see, the point here is we as black and brown people have had to break these norms. We have forcefully have to break these norms. If we accepted this shit, we'd still be 50 years ago. Being water hosed, the fireman pulling up and the police pulling up and watering us down because you're black. Just because of that. So
I'll say this though.
Go ahead. Okay, elaborate.
My community, I'm gonna speak on my community. We was better off 50 years ago. Right now, see, most people, they only look at things for face value. They never look deeper. Women are working not because they stood up and didn't accept this and wanted to be lit. Women don't want to work, bro. I don't know what rock y'all been living under. Women don't want to work. Women are complaining right now about men not being able to afford to make them housewives because they tired of working. Women don't want to work. If you give a woman the option, hey, you can stay home and have your lifestyle paid for, or go to work for the man and bust your ass and sit in traffic, they're going to choose you paying for all the bills while they sit home, relax, and look pretty. Women were allowed to work for no other reason than it gave the 1% even that much more control over the population, and it allowed them to program even more people. Because before women were working, women were in control of the kids. They were the first teachers of the kids before they got to the school, right? Men went and made the money. So the government was only taxing 50% of the population. They were only taxing men because men were the only ones working. They said, damn, if we let women work, now we can tax both parents. Not only can we tax both parents, now there's no one at home with the kids. So now we have full control over the kids. The parents no longer have control. The schools are raising the kids. Look at society today. You have teachers telling boys they can be girls and girls they can be boys. And you have full-blown men saying that they're women and they can have babies with testicles and a you know what, and really believing this, talking about they can have periods and shit. 50 years ago, that would be unheard of. The world is living insane today. So changing the norms isn't always good. Things were the way they were for centuries, and it worked. That's why it was the way that they were. Now, women don't respect men. Now it's women versus men. If you look online, there's a gender war, especially in the black community. And not just the black community. Women are so programmed right now that I forget the exact year. I got it in my notes. But I want to say 2045 or something like that. Like 45% of women will be single and childless from ages like 25 on up. That's almost 50% of the population are no longer having kids. Women are seeing having kids as a bad thing. So if you think society is easy to control now, how easy do you think it's going to be to control with half the population gone? So all of that women can work thing, it wasn't to empower women. It actually was to take more power away. We now have less power. The community is in shambles. I'm specifically speaking to black people. We are at the bottom of the totem pole economically because we have the least amount of families. If you just look by race and then you look at family income, total household income, all of these races that's at the top, they value family. They value family. They have high marriage rates and low divorce rates. They have low having kids out of wedlock rates. They have low I'm a bad independent boss chick rates. No, they women are saying they need their men. And even though they may be working, That money's coming home and they putting it together and they doing the damn thing. We're the ones being programmed. God, listen to you. You ladies are equal to men. Matter of fact, y'all are independent. Y'all don't even need y'all men. Not knowing you are relying on the man. The government is called the man for a reason. So women are under this illusion that they're independent because they go and get a degree. That's a whole nother topic about pushing this education. That's the biggest scam ever. If you go back and look when the school board was created, I got the exact year in my notes, I forget, but the Rockefellers put that whole thing together. School was used to make docile and punctual employees. This is not something I'm making up. This is something you can go look up, and it's a fact. School was designed to make a nation of workers and not thinkers. We were thinkers before. So 50 years ago, we had more black businesses. We had more black families. We had more black structure. There was less black on black violence. It was less destruction in our community. We were thriving in the worst predicaments ever. When you were saying that, hey, the world was programmed to hate you, you being water hosed down. Even through all of that, we were thriving to the point where we were making so much money in our neighborhoods. They came and bombed them.
Sure, yeah.
They came and burned the towns down, killed the women and children and the fighting age men, and ran us out of our own neighborhoods. So to compare the issues going on with women who are the most protected outside of the LGBT with slavery and the issues of that is damn near disrespectful, because it's the same thing as LGBT comparing their struggle to the struggles of black people in slavery. It's disrespectful.
So
Because
let me insert something just
go
to
ahead.
clear something, because I agree with you. I wasn't comparing it. However, I was using it to see that it's been the norm. Just for the record.
No.
Just for the record.
I caught what you were saying. I know,
Okay.
I know I'm speaking directly, but I'm kind of speaking to the audience. But because
Okay,
people do this.
Yes,
And
yes,
people
yes.
don't know a fraction
Yeah.
of what really went on in slavery, because what they tell you in school is only a fraction.
Yeah.
A fraction of what went on. So to compare any struggle to that is downright disrespectful.
Yeah.
And as far as, like you were saying, talking black and acting black and talking white and acting white, really do your research of where language came from, of where medicine came from, mathematics, science. I'm talking about everything that civilized the world. The root of it came from black people.
Okay.
First, brain surgery, open heart, we invented all of that.
Okay.
They don't tell you this. So when people say talk black,
Yeah.
act black, that's a stereotype that was fed to the people. No, it's talking proper, using proper English. You know what I'm saying? There's no race to it. You're just pronouncing words properly. But you're programmed by I don't even know if you could use white supremacy on here, but you're programmed because they control the media outlets. They control they control what you see as far as images go. They control the narrative.
The agenda, sure.
Yeah, the agenda. People don't realize all of this is divide and conquer, right? Because if racism really was the issue, I wouldn't be able to make more money than white people. I wouldn't have white people under me at work that I tell what to do. Only 15% of men make over 6 figures. I made over 6 figures when I was 24, the first time I made over 100,000. That was 12 years ago. So if racism was really a thing, there would be no white people in poverty, and I wouldn't be making 6 figures. So how am I allowed to make more money than white people if the white man's holding me down?
So okay.
All of this is propaganda, bro, and it's divide and conquer. So people never stop to think and look up. I don't know if it's like this this old parable, the ants in the jar, right? Like you put 50 red ants, put 50 black ants in the jar. They live peacefully in the jar. The man comes, shakes the jar up, dumps them out. First thing they do, red ants go, hey, that was the black ants. The black ants go, hey, that was the red ants. And they start killing each other. But they never stop to look up at who really shook the jar. That's what they do with the population. They shake the jar and we all look at each other. You know what I'm saying? We never stop to think. That's how they pulled COVID off. I know I'm going on a tangent, but I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
open
yeah,
up
yeah.
people's minds. They pulled
Right.
COVID off. They had people ready to kill each other for not getting the vaccine. Years later, it was all a lie. All the evidence is out there. Damn near 100% of the people dying from COVID was damn near due to them getting the vax now. So it's like, but 2 years ago, if you would have said this stuff, you was a conspiracy theorist, you were a nut, you're crazy, people would have been ready to kill you for not having a mask on. It's people don't think, bro.